Well, guys and gals, we have our first quarter-final match on. And once again, I'm joined here by Jeremy himself, Jones, from the USA. And I think, Jeremy, you have all the chance to dissect, I would say, the fundamentals of the guy you love so much so far. I'm talking about Aleksa Pecelj of Serbia. All right, Jeremy, sorry about that. I think you should introduce yourself once again because your mic was off.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, thank you guys on the chat letting us know, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that I just got to notice him this morning practicing before his first round match in the final 32, and I really liked what I saw. Really fluid. I think every part of his fundamental looked perfect, meaning a great backswing that really promoted and helped a good forward swing, and just really didn't miss hit the cue ball much. And at a young age, bright future.
Well, it is Ralf Souquet winning the lag shot and breaking in the opening rack. Nothing down so far, it seems to me.
Yeah, and Ralf struggled the first day. I actually got to watch him play a bit, and then I watched him play in his only loss of the event when he got knocked to the loser's side. I'm trying to remember exactly who it was. It was
talking about Ralf?
Yeah, it was a kid from
Poland.
Poland, yeah. A tall lefty. So we're going to see a safety.
Actually, Ralf got all the chances to face Daniel Mansell once again had he won over Joshua Filler, but Filler managed to beat Mansell and look like what Ralf came up with against young Josh.
And I was just going to comment, this is the side of the game that I'm wondering how well the young man's captured so far at an early age. The tactical side, the safeties, and a little short with the cue ball there. He wanted to get behind the 5 and the 8. Put the 1 in a nice place, but does Ralf have some type of kiss shot maybe off the 1 to the 6? It's very close. Maybe a little thin on the 1. So Ralf is going to probably try and keep it simple here, using the 2 and 10. Just playing the 1 to the back rail, and it may get up 1 diamond on the side rail. And I think
you won't go for a kick here, right?
No, I think he'll just clip this, and like I said, try to use the 2 and the 10. Oh, he couldn't get by the 6. So that's what we call soft safety, trying to keep your opponent off an offensive shot, even though you know you're not going to get the snooker. Now he's immediately looking at going down table. I would be a little more looking that the 2, 10, and the 3 are really big balls, just to clip the 1 up the side rail and come simply 1 rail back over, near in the area where he's at now, but a little more up the side rail.
Bringing the cue ball behind the 6, right?
Yeah, maybe. So a lot of times you want separation, of course. It's a little more, Okay, watch out for an awful kiss here.
Landed nice.
And we know Ralf is not going to be in any hurry. He's going to survey everything and try and keep the pace of play probably down somewhat somewhat slow.
Or maybe just keep the same he was using in his previous match when he beat Filler 8-3.
Yeah, but I saw a bit of that match the last 3 or 4 games, and Filler fouled, meaning he touched the ball with his hand, with ball in hand. He had ball in hand on the 1, shot the 1, and came up and brushed the 8-ball with his hand, and after Ralf had scratched on the break. And then missed an easy 8-ball, scratched on an 8-ball. So it wasn't the Filler we're used to seeing. And not taking anything away from Ralf, obviously he had to play well. So this will be a 2-rail kick and not with a lot of speed. Ralf is going to try and knock the 1 somewhere in the vicinity of the 6. I don't think he's going to hit it with a lot of speed and try and separate. I think he's going to try and use some congestion, maybe get a snooker with the 2-10.
Well, I think right now Ralf is going to wait until the announcement ends, because it is pretty disturbing to the players, I think.
Yes, it's quite loud, actually. And Tyler Steyer just advances, so we still have 2 Americans left, with SVB, Shane Van Boning winning. So again, I'd be surprised if he went at this firm. He did, though. Okay, but he hit it so solid.
And left the shot to the side.
Yes. He did well with the cue ball, though, hitting it solid. He just was hoping the 1 would get past that 4.
Yeah, the 2 ball doesn't pass past the 10 ball, obviously, to the corner pocket, so he's got to draw all the way back to the middle of the table. Right where he was pointing his cue.
Yeah, and the 3 has both corners available, meaning the long corner and the short one. So if he can just get kind of heavy on the 2, as heavy as he can possibly get, he may be able to use the 10 to slow the cue ball down and develop a shot on the 3.
Well, the 3 to the 4 is also some kind of where you can get easily lost.
Oh, that's a nice shot there. It's a comfortable shot there, and not easy to. You got to come close to that corner and then back out with good speed. The one thing is, the 4 does go off of the 8 very easily in the corner. You can hit the 8 at, a third of the ball, half the ball, 40. There's a lot of ways you can hit the 8 and still make it. So if he's not able to get on the 4 on the side. Okay, so this, we may see that if he doesn't elect to draw 1 rail over for the 4 on the side. But he's nice. He can go the side rail with a little low right English. Pecelj Aleksa.
Aleksa. Like Alex, but
oh, yeah,
with A in
yeah, with the
end,
KS, yes. I'm learning. I should learn a little quicker with the with our alphabet right here on the keypad. I was telling the rest of the Americans who haven't gotten to pay attention to this kid, they should, because I think they're going to see a lot of them here in the next, say, like 25 years.
Yeah, that's I dare say that when this young guy becomes a world champion, one day it was Jeremy Jones calling him first.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't make many of those types of predictions. The only one I actually recall I got right when I first saw Kachi. Without knowing him, I told him he was going to be #1 ranked player in the world one day, and it only took him about 18 months or 2 years to get there. But you can just see certain guys, and Kachi, I think he's just...
Do you see same potential about Federgorst?
Oh, absolutely. He's already been a junior world champion.
Because like I think it was Chris Melling telling someone that this guy probably has got some like 4 to 5 majors in the near future.
Yeah, well, that's a hard thing to say just because of how tough it is to win. You would like to think so, but the one good thing is I think there's going to be more major events and what you consider more major events for these guys to play in. So they're going to be able to accumulate a lot of titles. And I certainly think Federer's going to get him 4 or 5 majors. It's just the nature of the beast is it might take a little longer than people think, and nothing to take away from Federer. It's just how the sport is.
Well, I hope Federer Ghost still has got a very long life in sport.
Oh, absolutely.
If he decides to stay,
yeah.
Of course, we're hoping for that one.
Well, the 3-ball under a pressure situation in the last match at Hill Hill, the 3 hit with inside English with a lot of speed to cannon into that 4. That shows you a lot of guys might have elected to play safe in that situation, or maybe just softly make the 3 and then play safe on the 4. But he stayed aggressive, and that's a true sign of a champion.
Yeah, right. So, rec number 1 goes in favor of Aleksa Pecelj.
And it wasn't an easy out. He made a really nice shot on the 1 to come 2 rails to the center on the 2. If he underhits or overhits a bit, could be serious problems. Now, I haven't got to see him break, but I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Just let's take a look at the body movement. No body movement at all.
Yeah, and he ended up dry as well. So that's going to be upsetting.
It's pretty weird, I think we've seen one dry break by Niels Fine today and one by Federer.
Yeah, now
that's it.
Yeah, well, the Vietnamese opened with the dry break, I believe, in that match. That was right before we left to get a little lunch.
Yeah,
but
correct.
now we've seen 2 dry breaks
in a row. Yeah.
And this one is quite some ways away from the hole. I'm not saying it's not doable, but I kind of like coming to the bottom rail and maybe using the safety coming across the ball rather than going for the make. But he could do the same thing, come to the side rail, come across the ball and bank it up and maybe get the cue ball over near the 2 and the 5.
Oh, do you think the rail first attack is there?
Yeah, it's going to be the bottom or the side. Now, can he not reach the jump shot? Is that the case with the jump? Is it too far out in the middle of the table? Because there is some distance there, but you're hitting the 1 fairly full.
I also believe there is some kind of special technique when you use the mechanical bridge to jump from the middle of the table.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but I've seen it before. I like coming to the bottom rail like he's looking and trying to bank the 1 across a little bit and let the cue ball run, rather than going for maybe a little bit of an underdog make and you give up a run out. Okay, he's going to come. Now you can do the same thing here. You can try to bank the 1 up the side rail. This is a long ways out, though, so he's got to hit it soft with a lot of spin to try and throw it back. Yeah, that's what I would have been worried about. He's going to get away with it? No. And that's what I mean as far as I would have looked at a tactical battle on that shot, just because Ralph's got to realize that this young kid can run out. And running out isn't the problem.
Well, I'm sure he's well aware of it. Aleksa is already earned some honors at the European junior level. I think he won like three medals. No titles, though. The last one being the 9-ball division at under 23, I think.
Well, he's overhit that a bit, just a touch. So he'll use the 5 to hold the cue ball for a little cut on the 3. He's got enough room between the 9 and 7 if he needs to carry the cue ball to the short rail and back up for the 4. But I can see him playing several matches without missing. That's kind of my feeling, anyways. And the good thing about the Europeans is they play some big events like you were talking about, like the Junior Europeans, the Junior Worlds, and things like that, to where there's pressure already at a young age and titles that they're trying to get. So, of course, this is a bit different nerves at the pro level, but it's something he's felt already, and I think that really bodes well. Whereas in America, it may be more of the youngsters playing action matches more than tournament play, and that's a different type of nerves than it is in the tournament.
Yeah, I see a point.
Oh my. Okay, just as I spoke, I kind of jinxed him. So Ralf should probably cheat the pocket a little bit and run the cue ball 2 rails with high end side in between the 6 and the 5. No reason to put draw on this and bring that side pocket into play. I think anyways, when the ball's hanging like this or near the pocket, that's when you really use the pocket to try and manipulate the cue ball. If he cues downward on this, I'd be a little surprised, and he is. Okay. Or is he just maybe putting a lot of side spin? No, okay, he drew off of it. Okay.
And gets away with it.
Yeah.
The keys on the 6.
It would have been unlucky to get snookered, but the way he shot it, it was a possibility.
Well, we have all other matches.
Now,
Already starting, yeah.
Every match here, huge for Ralf when we're talking about late November in Las Vegas. He's second in the combined rankings for the Mosconi Cup on the Europe side. So if he was to go ahead and win this tournament, I think he may be a lock.
I'm not sure because we've got another event which counts. It's
Euro.
Euro Tour, yes, in Austria, Klagenfurt, and I wonder if Team USA is going to make the same travel like
No.
you did last year, like going from Moscow to the Euro Tour. No,
No, we're going home. The guys have some other commitments, and then getting prepared for our last big tournament here in 3 or 4 weeks' time in Virginia, the International, which
I see. So
is a star-studded field.
No chance for Shane to win another Euro Tour title this year, at least.
Well, I'll tell you, Shane has made some comments how he wants to get back to #1 in the world. He's very eager.
Oh, that's a good motivation.
Yes.
I think the last thing for him to win is the world champion title.
Yeah,
apparently.
he's fallen short there a few times, but he's getting better as far as his international results. And it's difficult. When you go internationally, it's just like the U.S. Open. It took some 25 years. Oh, that was hit a little thick, so he wanted to play for the side, so he's going to be a little upset there that he's going to have to shoot a little longer shot in the corner. And if he gets a little off angle, this could get funny. Hit the 7 a little thick to the hole, so he missed out on about 12 inches of travel on the cue ball.
Well, as long as he's able to produce a very fine and straight stroke, I don't think he's much of a trouble.
Yeah, but if he's off angle a little bit, he may have to move the cue ball to the rail and out, so we'll see. But what I was getting at, it took some almost 25 years. Nice shot. It took some almost 25 years for an international player to come abroad and win the U.S. Open, that being Efren Reyes. So it's not easy to travel those great distances and play your best pool. And it still has been, now how many international U.S. Open winners do we have? We have a few more now, of course, but that being Josh Filler, the reigning U.S. Open champion. Efren Reyes, that's 2. Alex Pagulayan, who stays in North America a lot, that's 3. We have Jason Shaw, who lives in North America, lives in Connecticut. That's 4.
Darren
Appleton.
Who lives in Florida, I think, now?
Well, he was in Philadelphia. He was in Pennsylvania. I think he's actually back home now.
Oh, really?
In England, yeah, for the most part. I'm trying to think of what other internationals do we have that have won it. I think that's it. Am I missing another? I know I am missing another, and I'll think of it, I'm sure. But So that's all stemmed from Shane's international play, and it's just not an easy thing to do.
What about the Taiwanese guy, Chen Yusuan? The US Open.
Oh yeah, Kevin Chang. Kevin Chang. That's the one I'm missing. Yes, I believe so. Anyways,
Mika Immonen.
Mika Immonen. Yeah. Well, Mika has won it twice. One year he lost his first match, and came through a 200+ field to win the event. So still, in some 40-something years of the event. Okay, we got a ball down and a perfect starter on the 1 with the 2 hanging. He's going to have to play a short side position on the 3. I think Mika won back-to-back years. One year going undefeated, and then the next year losing his very first match. And I watched that match, and I think it was against Chris Bartram. He lost his first match, and then rolled all the way through. A great player from Ohio.
Well, also once Mika was steamrolled by Corey Duo.
Yeah,
in 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11-0. Can you believe it?
Yes. Well, that was when Corey really showed the world the soft break and showed what he could do with it. And then Darren Appleton, also a 2-time winner, I think 2008 and 2010, is that correct?
10 and 11.
10-11. Oh, he was back-to-back as well. Okay.
Yeah. And then there came Shane Van Boning, who won 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So just here you have it.
Yeah, he beat me on the winner.
Like 8 years and only 3 people winning it.
Yeah, he beat me on the loser side in the final 6 a few years ago of the U.S. Open, I think it was. The last year that it was in Virginia, I believe. No, you could see right at contact that was overcut. So both players with a dry break and now 1 miss apiece.
And 1 rake apiece.
On the outer tables, we have Sanchez Ruiz versus Shane Van Boning, with Shane leading 2-0. Feder Gorse trailing another Spaniard, David Alcade, 2-1. Konstantin Stepanov, Costo they call him around here, playing another American, Tyler Steyer. So it's kind of interesting. We have 2 Russians.
And 2 Spaniards.
2 Spaniards, 2 Americans, and then the 2 in front of us left in the tournament. So really only 5 countries represented here in the final 8. So you could say that's some great teamwork by 3 of those countries.
We've got a hint we forgot Ralf somehow in the list of US Open winners.
Well, I'd mentioned him first, actually,
yeah.
as far as an international.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And I believe he had beaten Alex Pagulayan in that final. I believe it was a very close one. At that final, they played a race to 15.
13 to 11, actually.
Yeah. I'm getting old. I remember most of them, but not all of them. You would think I was cheating, but I can't read that Russian screen you have on there anyways.
It's amazing. You have so good memory for all these like old numbers from the past, all these score lines and just even some shots.
Well, in America, that's a pretty important tournament to us, the U.S. Open. So.
I mean, it's got I think the longest history now.
Yeah, and for many years, and it's still to this day, I think it's the toughest event in the world. The World 9-Ball Championships, don't get me wrong, it's no cupcake. But I think the tables at the U.S. Open always play tougher than any other tournament that we have. Yeah, they always keep the rules very difficult, where the break is not easy. That's how it should be, basically. Somewhat like golf, the major events, they toughen up the courses, really put a true test.
I think it's good to have all the variety of tournaments, and this is the part we spoke with Corey Duel during the previous match a little bit. Like be it a winner break, alternate break, like a round robin as a preliminary stage instead of double elimination.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Probably like different equipment.
Absolutely.
Yes, various
Yeah.
formats and regulations.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with having, like you said, different ones that may favor one player this week, and then the next event, the way it's set up, favors a group of another kind of players the next week. I think if you set it up a particular way every time, you're going to have a lot of the same guys over and over. Oh, great break off there, and they both cleaned it up. Even though he missed both the balls in the side, that would be a little bit of a concern going forward. Now he wants to get nice and close to this 3, to where when he rolls in this combination, he keeps the 3 over the side. Well, it should be okay still. And he can cheat this pocket, I believe, no problem. He's going to have to hit heavy with a bit more speed, but he can certainly get to the good side of the table. And he's just going to use a little draw stroke. Come back to the rail.
Right hand English, maybe.
Eh,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
I was hoping to get some more spin grabbing off the cushion.
Well, when you put the right, the problem is that makes the cue ball want to jerk right a little bit off the hit, so it actually works against the direction you're trying to send the cue ball.
For more compensation in aiming.
Right. Now here, this is interesting. He's a little thin. I was wondering if he'd cue down on this and try and come back with the cue ball, so watch out for the heavy hit to the pocket. All right, now really clean. And that shows you how well he hits the cue ball. If you come up on that ball just a hair, you don't quite turn the object ball as well, and you can hit it thick. Oh, I just noticed him. He kind of threw the cue a little bit too right there. I always like watching for that. Usually, for me anyways, it's the players I like to watch the most.
Which was the year you started noticing it yourself? I mean,
well, I never noticed it. It was about 5 years into playing, and someone told me.
Observing the
other people. Oh, yeah, probably 6, 7 years ago, maybe 7, 8 years ago.
Like, not so long ago.
No. Well, I was very concerned with myself for a long time, so now I have to talk about other players. So.
Well, once again, I think this kind of motion is pretty natural. Like you're throwing, like I would say, similar to like maybe javelin throw.
Yeah, it's just a release point,
yes,
right?
Throwing like the device towards the target, like the cue ball.
Well, 3-1 now, and quickly. Now Ralf did win the lag, so he needs to hold serve here and see what happens. But things can get away from you quickly in this short race to 8.
Well, needs to make something on the break.
Now, early in the tournament, I watched Ralf break off the end rail 2 or 3 games in a match, and he quickly went away from that, went back to the table, to the hand on the table. Uh-oh.
Still
shot
nothing.
cue ball. No, he made the 8 in the side.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Because he hit him a little harder, that second ball will really go in a lot quicker than, say, like a Federer who uses a little more arm break. Shane Van Boning up 3-0. Federer trailing 3-1 to David Aleksa and 1-0 in Tyler Starr and Stepanov.
Yeah, sounds promising for Shane.
Yeah, well, he's been in what they call beast mode ever since that loss. And when he was in that loss, he was down 6-1, 7-1, 6-1, and came back to Hill to lose to David Aleksa, I believe.
I think he lost like
8-6.
8-6. Yeah.
Okay, I think he's got a natural path here in between the 6 and the 6 and the 5. That's a nice shot. And he's right on the border of, can I roll forward for the 3 or do I need to come off the rail? I think he can roll forward.
Yeah, he's got enough angle to do so. Comes up with a nice drag shot.
Yeah, he's a big user of the drag stroke. I use a lot myself on a slick table. If you're someone who's comfortable with that, the pocket becomes very big for the object ball. And like in the Mosconi Cup, when the nerves are really, really high, if you, like I said, if you're very comfortable with that shot, sure does make the game easy in some situations. So I think he's too thin here to hold for the side, so he's got to come up near the 7 with the cue ball.
So I think the 6 does pass past the 7 to the side if he wants so, but the corner pocket is also there.
You got to watch his shirt. It's awfully close to that 5 ball there. We are playing all ball fouls. So here he should come back with the cue ball. He may go forward actually. It's kind of preference in this situation, don't you think, Michael? Both are so easy. I don't think you can say
follow in the draw, right?
Yes, I always like the draw in this situation. That way I'm putting a little more crisp hit on the cue ball and, you know, kind of stay to making the same strokes I like to make.
Well, it is in a Russian pyramid where you are supposed to be stroking more more often below the center of the cue ball because some of the forward spin transfers to the object ball and just kind of stabilizes the path, also helping to move through the corner pocket better. So just
right, the gear system kind of, right?
Maybe like for some extra stability, like hitting it slightly below the center works the same way here.
So you're talking about like in the pyramid when you're shooting one in instead of kissing the yellow off. Yeah?
Yeah, right. Well, that's a run out for the German.
Now with Serbia, were they represented by any other players? I know there were 2 other Germans here, I believe.
If you're talking about this particular Kremlin Cup, no.
Yes.
I think Aleksa is the only one this year.
Okay.
They've got some talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I used to know a few, but I just didn't see any here. I think there were 3 German players here, I believe, if that's...
At least, yeah.
Yeah, at least, yeah. Okay, there's that ball on the side. The 1's tracking nicely. What's the 3 going to do?
Oh, sorry, 5 Germans.
5, okay.
Joshua Filler, Pia Filler.
I forgot about Filler, yeah.
Ralf Souquet.
I forgot about Filler.
Some other guy.
The black-haired guy. He actually qualified to the final 32 and got beat this morning. I'm trying to remember his name. I don't think he can do anything but kick at this. coming 2 rails. He should be able to control the speed. If he feels comfortable going to the rail, coming across the 1-2 rails should be okay. And just try and fall in that gap between the 3 and the 7 with the cue ball. Can't roll out to any type of jump shot here, or really another kick. I don't think he can pass this. The one. Oh, I forgot about Thorsten too. Jeez Louise, yeah. Oh, he's going long rail. Now I believe long rail, it's a little bit tougher to predict the position play on the 2, but this is okay. He hit it with a lot of speed, and he got perfect. What a great shot. Well, I'd say I feel really good today, but my mind left me on the Germans there, and you know, the #1 ranked player in the world, plus a former #1 ranked player in the world.
That's pretty fine, because like I think right now all your mind is taken by this youngster.
Yes, you're right. And I like everything about the fundamental, the high elbow in the back. Oh, he overcut that badly. And I'm not sure really why. It's this heavy spin shot is the shot that some players have talked about when it comes to the carbon fiber shafts being a little bit more difficult to judge.
Yeah, and Corey mentioned that before, like the deflection of different kinds of shots is different with carbon shaft.
Oh yeah, and I think that's one of the shots that made Filler go back to the wood with Predator rather than the Revo.
Myself, I prefer good old days with
maple
wood shafts. Yeah, just don't get, frankly, all these like carbon hype.
Okay, Ralph's, he's okay. He's got to draw the ball now and either play a kiss shot on the 5-9 or a combination. And it's, you know, a lot what you're used to. Especially with us, Michael, we're not the youngest of players, but also what your game is. Like I, tend to use a bit of spin at times, use the drag shot a lot, things like that with the outside English to kill the ball, and sometimes equipment sets up better for you. Certain equipment sets up better for different players. He's got himself in a point to where he's got to draw the ball, so he's got to hit this one clean. This is the type that you can wobble. All right, he hit it great, so he's going to play the kiss shot. But
on the 9.
The interesting thing is the 8's in the way for the next shot, so he's got to really put the 5 in a good position here, whether it be an 5-8 combo or.
He can just play kind of a bank shot on the 5 also, just repositioning it towards like past the 10 ball.
Yeah. Now,
all the way.
What he's looking at here is, can he spin off the 9 with a little high left and go towards where the 5's going as well?
Yeah, that's a wise choice.
The problem is he's got on a slick table. He's really got to be aware of the 10 ball. He's got to be aware. You got to see the 6 is over on the side rail, right? So if he lands on the rail with the cue ball, he could be really cut off on trying to play position. So he's going to bank the 5 around the 10, around the table, and draw into the 9. With a little more speed. I think this is a smart play. That way he most likely comes he hung it.
How come?
He just cut across it and just barely watched. He just barely caught the 9.
I mean, the 9 looked so available.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We've got a comment about Joshua Filler waiting for some special Z-Taper Rebel version of the shaft. So just his switch back to the wood probably is only temporary.
Well, but he played with the Revo, and he won a big tournament. You know, pretty big tournament. And then he changed right after and won 2 major tournaments. So, but you know, I haven't talked to Josh about it, but a few other players had told me there were certain little spin shots that he at the time felt a little more comfortable with his traditional Predator wood shaft.
Well, just take a look at the Vietnamese guy who lost to Federer-Gorst. He is using the ordinary maple shaft, no low deflection technology.
Yeah, well, the Chinese Taipei, they love their Southwest cues.
Yeah, correct.
Of course, the Southwest are a conical taper like I play with, so they're a bit more stiff. There's not really a ton of deflection. Now, people that play with a Revo would say there's a ton of deflection on it, but really, overall, there's not that much. Well, what a nice opening long shot there on the 5 that Aleksa made. Now, is he going to come 2 rails here, or is he going to try and pinch it out 1?
Only 1 will do, I think.
Yeah, there you go. And again, it's hard for us to tell exactly like how thin he was on the 8 right there. And if you're wondering, our Dream Challenge starts just 3 days from now on Monday.
Yeah, correct.
So
September
make sure to
23rd.
tune into that. It's going to be intense.
I think it's like 8 p.m. Moscow time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. Is it? Oh, I thought it was more like 6 to 11, because it's 5 hours of coverage every day. So 8 would run into the morning pretty late, like 1 in the morning. It could be, though.
No, I can't tell for sure.
Because Vladimir and I were talking about, you know, if the matches run over a little bit with the TV and everything, what exactly is going to happen. And I think they're still working out a few issues with that, but it's going to be one heck of an event the last 2 years, going right to the very last match.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to see it growing a little bit.
Now, am I looking at the score incorrectly? I thought Shane was ahead 4-1, but the way they're sitting...
Shane is up
4-1, right? Okay.
Yeah. So is David Lekad leading 4-2 versus Federer-Gorst. And Konstantin Stepanev is ahead over Tyler Starr 2-1.
All right, you got a little kiss on the 1. Is he going to... Ooh, I'm not sure it got offensively available with the 4. There is, but the 1's going to have some speed on it. He's got to cut the 1 back a bit. He's got an interesting shot here, though. Could call the 1 off the 4 in the upper corner and bring the cue ball back behind the 5, having position on the 2 if he made it, and safe. Pretty thin cut 1 on the 4, and if he shoots it, he's got to really shoot it with a high inside ball to try and bring the cue ball towards.
Yeah, that's an off-angled combo.
Yeah.
So very thin cut on the 1 is required.
Yeah,
drive the 4 towards the side.
I don't think he's calling it. I think he's bringing him behind the 5. And that's what I was saying. See the direction the 1's going? He could have played it much more firm, still keeping the cue ball behind the 5 with just a little check. Maybe calling it up in the corner, but a smart play. It's not something you're going to do in a race to 8 here. You can't afford any mistakes, or especially any mental mistakes. But here, Ralph knows when you play safe on the 1 with so many balls on the table, if he makes a good hit here, a lot of good things can happen for Aleksa.
So he got his breaking cue, I think, for the jump shot.
Wow, what a hit. And he's going to get a shot on the 2 as well. The 3 passes the 5. So he's going to have to get into the 8 a little bit with the cue ball. nice to go a little forward here, like that. Ooh, he didn't want to land on the rail, but he did need an angle. So now he's going to have to... Can he put some speed on this and avoid the 9 coming 2 rails?
No, I'm not sure about that. I think he'll clip the 9 anyway.
Okay, well, he's going to try and hit down on this, trying to avoid hitting the 9. So I think the cue ball is going to be okay. It's just going to be a little bit tougher making the ball.
Just don't overdo it, Aleksa, because the side pocket is always there.
Yeah, and the 10 coming 2 rails, you could get over the 10 or behind the 10. I think, though, the make was the real problem. Just because when you're jacking up, you're hitting a flat cue ball, so see how it really grabbed the 3 ball and made it hit a little thicker?
That sometimes is interesting to see the players, like after a miss, they stay at the table and like reproduce the shot as if they can still change something.
Yeah. Well, they're sometimes a bit confused and about what happened, maybe. This one here, I think I like playing the 3 underneath the 10, I think. And letting the cue ball come 2 rails. You got the 6 and the 10 to really get the snooker. You could play the cue ball behind the 10. I think I like the 3 underneath the 10 more, though. A lot of times you have a choice which way you want to clip this ball. Yeah, that's the one I liked, I think. Nice shot there. And he's cut off the side rail. We may see somewhat of a trick shot here, trying to bend the cue ball. Or can he get in between the 6-9 at the 3? This is tough here. The slick felt. He's got to hit this slow with a lot of draw to bend into the angle, I think. Oh, he can get at the 3. Okay, so a bit of a mistake by Ralf there, because he's going to put the 3 on the side rail, trying to use the 6 for the snooker.
Well, Aleksa sees the left side of the red ball.
Well, he played it super light. Played it super light.
And a little bit too thick to hit expectation.
Yeah, I think he maybe had the cue ball wander a little to the left on him. He kind of wiped the felt down a little bit. Yeah, you could see. So again, the tactical side has been... We've had one miss by Aleksa, but it's been the tactical side where we've seen a few more errors. Shane been moaning up 5-1.
Well, this is a very uncomfortable shot to go for. Going left-handed and jacked up.
Ralph's pretty good left-handed, though.
I think this is as tough a shot as you could witness. I mean, going jacked up even with your natural hand is never easy, but opposite-handed, hands down.
Yeah, he had a pretty big window, but he still had to hit it with enough speed to get by the 10 and not too much to get behind the 6. Now, did I hear right as far as the pyramid? There was a lady that is so dominant in the pyramid, the ladies' side of it these days, that she played in the men's event this year. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. And I would say there used to be a lady that done it, because like recently there are some other girls gaining on her. And I'm not even sure the girl you're talking about is still in the event playing one of the semifinals.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was told, that she didn't even play in the ladies this year. She decided to play in the men's instead, just because she's, like I said, been so dominant. Ralf in prime position here to cut this gap to 4-3. Aleksa still with a what you would call service break. He will be breaking off in the next game with a 1-game lead. Federer on the 10 ball, trailing 4-2, so it should be 4-3 here shortly. And Shane Van Boening now up 5-1. What is Ralf now? 50 years old on the head, right? Exactly 50. Oh my. Oh my. And that's what happens when you fall on the rail. That's why guys would always much rather be above the ball with a little more cut and off the rail than on the rail.
I didn't even bother mentioning him finishing on the rail because I was so sure about like him
making
being composed enough and making this one. Yeah, Ralf is going to turn 51 in November.
Well, now
what a way to lose this rack.
He's going to take his time out, and just like Alex Kazakis in our opening match today after a big miss on the 10. Good call to take a timeout, I think, and we'll be right back. Okay, they didn't break right. He got the one in a good spot. Well, it went down.
Well, he was a bit fortunate that the cue ball stayed on the table because like he hit it almost straight to the side pocket first, and then the cue ball was kicked by the 8.
So similar tactical shot. Does he play the 2 behind the 10, or does he play the cue ball behind? Does he play the cue ball behind the 10 or the cue ball behind the 7-8? This is choices. And again, everyone always wants distance. So
just banking the 2 ball across the leg this way.
Yeah.
And going behind the
You don't want to
fence.
leave a gap, though. I think he left a piece of this. That's why the practice in getting to that middle of the end rail is so important, coming from all different directions. Especially, we always have that 10 around the spot using the template, or the 9 around the spot using the template. The middle of the end rail is really somewhere you need to practice all kinds of clip shots getting to, whether you're going 1 rail to there or 2 rails zigzagging, whatever it is. Now, if Ralf can get all of this, I kind of think he'll put him behind the 8 with the cue ball. If he can only get to the right side.
I can see, or even just can utilize a little swerve shot.
Maybe a soft swerve.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just enough to have a cover by the 7.
Now, the one good thing is,
and the 8 also.
If you play the 2 in between the 7-8 and let the 2 come past the 8 and out into the middle, it won't go, and you let the cue ball run back in the vicinity where it's at now. Like that. Oh, he played to cut it in. Nice shot.
Oh, that's a great decision,
and perfect speed to hold on the 3 for the 5 in the opposite corner as well.
Yeah, the execution was at its finest.
And you know what I like him looking at the shot, but then not taking too much extra time. Ralf he made a pretty clear decision, and I think it helped the execution. Sometimes when you look at certain shots a long time, you start to try and find some negative things, you know?
Like missing them too much?
Well, yeah, a little doubt may creep in there. You know,
never good in pool.
And it's almost the opposite.
Even if you are going to make a mistake, make it a confident one.
Right, and it's almost like the opposite. We say ignorance is bliss.
And just not to be second guessing yourself. Then.
Yeah, sometimes when you have so much knowledge, like a guy like Ralf, you can start to see some of the things that could go wrong, rather than making sure I just do the one thing that's right.
This is I think, a natural process how maturity comes to the junior players, because like at the beginning they're fearless because they.
Oh my! Similar to the 10 he missed earlier, and look at the cue ball. So a total miss hit. He didn't even get past the 10 ball. Yeah.
I think he was aiming slightly to the left of the vertical axis.
Yeah.
And just he throwed the ball, the object ball. Well, once again, the junior players, they are fearless because they are not aware of what to fear of.
Yeah, and that's every sport, really.
Yes, and then as their background builds up.
That's why you see some of the miracle shots in basketball, miracle throws in baseball, and you know, you don't know much about baseball, I don't think, probably, but making some mental errors that actually end up doing great things for you. But this was some of the characteristics that I'm not used to from Ralf, that I saw in his loss early in the tournament, that he obviously cleaned up to get this far, but they're creeping back in here.
Well, he used his timeout already to trying to get back on track. Could be disastrous if it didn't work for him.
Yeah, well, he immediately made a great shot on the 2 and a big opportunity on Aleksa's break. What looked like was going to be a fantastic run out. It was a little tight getting to the hole, but obviously a big miss hit.
So it's like he's trailing 4x now already in a race to 8. turning into an underdog.
And it's slowly but surely looking like Shane Van Boning's going to end up being maybe the old man in this tournament if Ralf doesn't really turn it on here soon.
I guess Shane might be as old as Stepanov is.
Federer trailing David Aleksa 5-3, but he is breaking. SVB back at the table again with a 5-2 lead over Sanchez Ruiz. Oh, excuse me, Ruiz Sanchez.
No, the first one was
correct.
Correct, yeah, Sanchez Ruiz.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my, and it's just got compounded here. So it's been a couple that may as well been ball in hand, and now ball in hand.
Worse,
yeah.
Right.
He's got a 4-ball that's tucked over on the side there, near the side pocket. So he's going to immediately look at that. Yeah, I think getting to the 3 is very easy to have a nice angle to come across for the 4. So he'll just screw the cue ball back here a couple inches like that. Just he'll have a 1-rail angle out to a nice angle on the 3. I'd be interested to see. I would come across and play like that on the 4 myself. There's enough room there. The 7's not really hampering. No reason to play short side on the 4, I don't believe anyways. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, he just wants a 2 or 3 inch bounce off the rail here, and that's perfect. Just come out above the 7, have the 5 in the corner with the 7 hanging on the side. So the young man should get to the hill here without some big error. Yeah, he just hits the cue ball very clean.
And he handled the 4-ball here very nicely.
Yeah, but you'll notice when guys' timing is really nice, you'll notice how light he hit that ball, but the 4 really moved down the rail. It wasn't like fluttering down the rail at all, and that's whenever you're using the cue stick as good easy power rather than really trying to apply the power.
Yeah, if you watch those top players who get so good cue ball action from like what seems to be very delicate shots, that's the thing you're talking about, I think.
Yeah, it's not just easy cue ball movement you should watch. It's also how much easy power they put on the object ball.
They are so accurate with the cue delivery also.
Yeah, I call it letting the cue do some work for you.
Yeah.
And really almost all the top players have that style. There's a guy I mentioned as the greatest player on the planet a little while ago that he's a little different fundamental, but still pretty amazing, Shane.
Oh, he's a man of his own. When it comes
exactly.
To
so quickly, 7-2.
Yeah.
Yes, and breaking. So Shane now 6-2 over Ruiz. David Aleksa at the table with a 5-3 lead on Federer. Stepanov and Tyler Steyer knotted at 3 apiece. And that may be something we see here in a few days, those two in action against each other in the Dream Challenge. Now, Stepanov has called this 2 rails.
Yes, I'm not sure they're going to face each other in singles matches, but definitely they will meet in doubles.
You would think anyways. think David Alcade is really fighting for a position on that Mosconi Cup as well. And really, this is what a good layout here to finish this match and get on to the semifinals for this young man. The 1 near the 2, the 3 near the 4. Just a little bit of position play from the 4 to the 6, and we're going to have our first semifinalist.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Well, I'll tell you.
Having his debut here, I believe.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to see a lot of this young man for many years.
Actually, I learned his name first when he beat Gorst, I think, at one of the Euro Tour events. And I was looking like, very puzzled.
Must be a misprint,
yeah,
huh?
It's just some Serbian junior, and it's Gorst after all.
Well, I tell you, when I watch him, I kind of feel like he models a few things after Federer, excuse me. Oh, almost nearly catching the 8 there. And that's where he's not been bad, but when he gets a little short, just like any of us, when we get a little short is whenever maybe things don't pan out exactly how we wanted. When he stays really long and fluid, it seems like he's hit everything how he wants. So we're going to lose Hall of Famer and major winner, multiple major winner, Ralf Souquet, but another fine tournament. Uh-oh. Okay, I think the 10 helped him there. I think that was going towards the side.
Well, that's it for Ralf Souquet in this event. But still, he earned some points in favor of a Mosconi Cup race.
And we'll be back for a semifinal match.
For one of them, I believe they're scheduled to start simultaneously.
Okay.
So we will be able to feature only one of them at the main TV table. But of course, I hope that the other one will be present for the web stream. Once again, it will be very nice to see how Aleksa Pecelj performs in these totally new conditions. I think, well, probably this might be even his first major with such a deep run through.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, every match I think is doing wonders for the young man, and it's a pleasure to watch. And thanks for having me, Michael.
Yeah,
and
thank you in the meanwhile.
We'll be back at the semifinal.
Yeah.
встречи. Листов 4-3.